This episode of the Horror Show podcast is brought to you by Tino Evil. For some really sweet zombie mashup shirts, make sure you go visit these guys as soon as possible. From Walking Dead to Sons of Anarchy to even the Beatles, Tino Evil knows how to mash up zombies in absolutely the coolest way you can possibly ask for. Visit their website at tinoevil.bigcartel.com or visit them at facebook.com/tinoevil. That's TEENOEVIL. That's right, guys. Make sure you go check out Tino Evil either on Facebook or at tinoevil.bigcartel.com and get your kick-ass zombie shirts and represent starting today. Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show podcast. I'm Cecil Laird.
And I'm Marcia Parker.
What up? We're back. I know it's only been a week to you guys, but we haven't recorded in a little while. We can these ahead of time sometimes. We have a lot coming up. I believe you guys will hear this before or while we're at Scarefest.
Yeah.
And then next weekend to you guys, we'll be shooting our horror short. And then shortly thereafter, we're going to be putting together our first 30-minute pilot because we have some place specific to go with it now, and hopefully that'll work out. But for today's episode, what we're going to do is we're going to do two reviews, a little bit different this time, not two movies. We're going to do one movie review and one TV review. So we are going to be talking about the very first season series premiere episode of Fear the Walking Dead, the spin-off series from the regular Walking Dead show. And then we're also going to be talking about the new movie Sinister 2. So we will go ahead and start with Sinister 2, Marcia. Now, you want to give a little overview of what the movie was about for the peeps that might not know?
So Sinister 2, you're kind of picking up where we left off with the first one with the deputy sheriff that was involved in the Oswald's descent, as we may say. And he's basically going around tracking down all these houses that would be related to the same occurrences, to the quote-unquote boogeyman that's, getting these kids to do these horrible, horrible murderous things.
Bagul.
So you're following him around, and then you're introduced to the new family of victims. Which were very likable characters. You have the mom and the
two of them were.
Well, you don't really realize the horribleness of the son until later on. But
by the way, you guys, we're going to be spoiling both the episode and the movie. So if you don't want to actually know what happens in Sinister 2 or Fear the Walking Dead series premiere, then you might want to hold off until you do and come back and listen after that. But if you don't care, boom, you're set.
Yeah. I would recommend watching it. I know it's getting not so good reviews, but
it got a horrible review on the site that I
for what it was. I mean, I thought they did a really good job. I personally thought it was better than the first one.
Yeah, I had some problems with the first one. I thought the first one was missing its third act. It just kind of ended, and it was not satisfying at all. This one at least had more of a satisfying ending, although even it was a little choppy. There were a couple of logic leaps that you have to make, like. You see, in this one, basically, in the first one, Ethan Hawke found all these old 8mm reels, film reels, that were basically the kids in the past, all the past occurrences of Bagul, the families that have been killed in the past, the kids recorded on this little 8mm camera. And so you saw a few of these films in the first one, but in this one, the films are kind of front and center. It seems that the ghost of kids that have died in the past are trying to make one of the sons watch Dylan.
It's their job, really, to
recruit for Bagul, really. And the way they do that, which was not explained in the first one, so it is kind of interesting that they delved a little deeper into the lore in this one. But they recruit the new kids by basically waking them up every night and forcing them to watch a different snuff film.
Yeah.
And then, slowly driving the kid crazy and realizing that he has to do what Bagul wants, whether he wants to or not, kind of thing. And it was here's where my logic leaps come in that I didn't like. The kills were a lot more elaborate in the films this time. And I just don't see, especially there's one where a kid hangs 4 family members upside down over a crocodile swamp. And it's like, okay, there's no way a child would be able to do this.
What is it connected to? Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, how did he know that there were going to be crocodiles?
How did he lift every body and turn them upside down?
Right, without getting eaten by the crocodiles himself.
And then, run the line over the middle of the thing. There's no way the kid could be strong enough for that.
Unless he has a pulley.
Maybe, but even still, it's like I said, it's a logic leap. So I didn't understand that.
I think it's just it is what it is. It's the type of movie.
You just gotta accept that.
You have to accept it, and it's maybe the ghosts help him do it because the ghosts do help him.
That's true. That's true. You know what? That's true. Because I was thinking that the whole time, but I just literally it came to my head just as you were saying that at the end of this movie when one of the kids is trying to kill everyone. The ghosts of all the other kids are physically interacting with things while being invisible. So
because if he fails, they fail,
and they get in trouble.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, we don't know exactly what them getting in trouble entails.
Well, the kid did say we're not going to be able to come back now.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know how that plays out.
Yeah, so maybe we'll find out in Sinister 3 that if the kid decides not to kill the family, the spell is broken and Bagul is powerless or something like that.
Maybe for the camera, but you still have the ham radio that wasn't destroyed.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm sure there's more technological things out there that they could bring in.
Yeah, it's in the computer. He's in the computer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. What would out of the kills, what do you think your favorite kill was?
In this one, well, and here's the thing. I wanted because basically the family that we follow is a single mom and her 2 kids, and we find out over the course of the movie that she's single because her ex-husband was beating both her and one of the kids.
Total D-bag.
Yeah, he was a complete asshole, right? And so he comes back into the picture and basically forces the family to come back, and he's immediately an asshole again. He just went through all this shit with the courts and everything, and the first night he's got them back, you'd think that he might try and take it easy for a little bit, but no, he's immediately an asshole. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll be happy when this guy dies.
He was on a short time span. They had to make you hate him.
I guess, yeah. No, I guess that's true.
If he wasn't going to make it through the night anyway.
But then they didn't. But they basically skipped over the tension, and he had a bag over his head, and he was the first one burned alive by not the son that is the one that's because basically what happens is. The ghosts are trying to force the more gentle of the 2 kids, Dylan, into becoming the killer, and when he resists, they basically sort of accept the other brother, Dylan's brother rather, and recruit him anyway.
Well, they say that it was their plan all the way through it.
Yeah, but that.
That they were
just to make the boy jealous enough, I guess.
Yeah, to make him crazy because he had the mean streak in him.
Yeah,
and the other one didn't.
Yeah. So basically, so they've been showing Dylan the movies the whole time, and the brother has wanted to take part in whatever they were doing, but he was feeling left out, so they recruit him instead, and then basically once the ex-husband is forced the family back into his home, the other kid, not Dylan, I don't even remember what his name was from the movie, but he. Gets the camera and starts rolling, and
Zach.
Was it Zach? Okay, I don't know for sure, but
it was Zach.
But anyway, so he starts rolling the camera, and then it cuts back to the investigator who's finding out other stuff, and he goes to the younger dude that was in the first one, helping to investigate things a little bit or do research anyway, and then and when he gets back, the family's already moved, and while we see this, apparently. Zach has been busy, and when we cut back to the family, Zach's got the camera, and the mother, the father, and the kid are all up on crosses in the middle of a cornfield with their hoods over their heads.
Well, they have their family moment. That's when the kid reaches out to the deputy to have him come and help them.
But again, it doesn't show how the kid got over on the parents. I mean, it showed him walk away with the wine bottle and then bring it back. So I guess we're maybe supposed to believe that he drugged them.
Well, was the ongoing theme was that they were drugging them to get him. But yeah, because if you
it
noticed,
just wasn't clear enough to me.
Well, I noticed it whenever in all the little sequences, like you see them going to dinner and they bring them the drinks, and then next thing you know, they're passed out. And the same thing with the Sunday school one. He had the wine glass and he gave it to them. Oh,
that's right. Yeah.
And then they all pass out, but woke up enough to be.
But still, I would have liked to see him doing a little bit of the work rather than cutting back, and somehow he's lifted all these bodies. But again, I guess it could have been the ghost helping them. So anyway, circling back
to... he had the truck.
Oh, is that why he
had the truck pulled?
The truck, pulled them up higher, I guess. But anyway, I don't know. I was maybe willfully ignoring these things because I just wanted to see more of this stuff. But so circling back to answer your question, my most satisfying but somehow least satisfying kill was the stepdad, because I wanted to see him go, but it was anticlimactic because he just lights the fire and the fire follows and then lights him up and he burns alive. And the problem is we saw that happen earlier in the movie.
Right.
And so there was nothing special about it.
See, and that's what I didn't really understand. Like, how is the kid getting the foreshadowing of how
the nightmares,
how it was gonna end?
See, and not only that, but in the dream or whatever, at the beginning, he lit the person on the right on fire first, and it started with the person in the center at the end. And I'm like, okay, so did we see some? Is he repeating what someone else did? But even Zach says, this is going to be the best one yet, as if it hadn't been done before. So I doubt it was a continuity gaffe, but it was a thing that made me wonder.
Yeah, because in his nightmares, he lit one and they all were burning.
Right. Well, yeah. When they pulled back, but it did start on the right. They did show the right one being lit first, and then the rest of them were lit up. So there weren't. Am I wrong, or there weren't that many deaths that happened in the movie? Or were you asking me which film was my favorite?
Yeah.
Oh,
those were the deaths were.
Yeah, no, that's another weird thing. Like, there wasn't enough at stake in this movie, I don't think.
Well, I think that's how Sinister works, though, because even in the last one,
there wasn't much either.
There wasn't much death,
but the investigator and then
family.
The family at the end. Yeah. But you said the investigator also died, right?
Or the professor.
The professor, right?
He disappears.
Oh, okay.
But the family dies.
So as far as the favorite ones go, I would have to go, even though it's completely unfeasible, the crocodile one, because it's a creature type thing, and I love creature movies.
And it's a little bit different because you had the rats,
which is an old story,
right?
It's like an old torture method, yeah.
And then you had the electrocution.
What she means by rats is one of the groups of people. He puts a rat under a metal bowl and secures the metal bowl, and then puts hot coals on top of it, so the rat
chews it through. I mean, it was pretty graphic, like when the rat comes out of them.
Just that one bit, but they didn't show much beyond that. But it was just people
inventive.
Shaking. No.
The electrocution wasn't.
It wasn't that inventive either.
It was intense, but I mean, they were remodeling their house and they made let the water run and.
And then dropped an electrical wire in there. The cool thing about that was seeing their skin fried up as it was happening. That was a neat little effect. But
that was cool. What was the other one?
Well, the burning at the beginning was the only other one I thought. Oh no, they showed 5 of them, didn't they?
There was 5 different. Oh, the Christmas one where they buried them. In the snow.
Yeah, she buries them alive in the snow, and they all just freeze to death outside.
Yeah, and the mom looks over like she's frozen, but she still can move.
Yeah, she can still move her eyeballs. Yeah,
that would suck.
Yeah, it would. I mean, I haven't lived in a cold enough, climate to really understand the full impact of that. I've been in snow, so I know it would suck, but
it gets pretty cold when your toes start going numb. You get worried.
Now there was, let's hit on the effects. What did you think of the effects of the movie?
I thought they did a great job.
I thought they were pretty good too, and I only jumped 2 times.
I jumped a lot.
You and I have been in movies before where we jumped a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
I think we both jumped a lot in The Conjuring. And then there was one, I can't remember if that was the one, but one you and I kept jumping at, a lot.
Oh, was the one we watched recently?
Oh, it was Insidious 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, the prequel one. Oh my God, we both were jumping all over in that one.
Giggling like girls, yeah.
Speaking of giggling, what was your favorite part of the movie, Marcia?
My favorite part of the movie is when the kid's about to burn his either the little brother or he was either going for his mom or his little brother, and all of a sudden the deputy sheriff comes up with his truck and just slams into the kid, and he just goes flying. It was hilarious.
But he just like stands up and shakes it off like nothing.
Yeah,
so that was a little weird.
That was kind of stupid.
But yeah, literally, it was really funny because Marcia busted up and no one else in the theater laughed at all. Granted, there weren't that many people in the theater, but it was so just funny. A real standout because it was a long laugh too.
And like later on at the end, when they survive, so the kid gets taken and burned anyway. And I just repeated that whole scene of him getting hit by the truck, and I laughed even harder. And he's like, "Why are you laughing?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's just so funny."
Yeah.
Because it's like the perfect response. Oh, that
kid's about to burn everyone.
That kid's about to kill everybody. I'm just gonna take him the fuck out. Like,
yeah.
No, I'm not even gonna play.
But he just kind of bumped him though. Like it looked like he came in fast, but he should have just clobbered him. And
he should have ran him over,
backed
up,
do
it again.
Which is a common theme for the two things we're reviewing today. But
right? Actually, there's a tie-in. There is a tie-in.
But I want to circle back to the effects real quick. There wasn't a whole lot of gore for whatever reason. They showed a little bit here and there, but it's really more ghostly stuff and the kids appearing and everything. But Bagul was around a lot more this time.
Yeah, he was. He made a lot more appearances.
And
I thought the ghost effects were pretty cool.
They were, and the gag from the trailer still got me. The hallway gag where he kept lifting the flashlight up and lifting it up, and then Bagul's right in front of him, and I was like, Jesus! That was one of the times I actually jumped.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. The effects were appropriate, although I'm always a fan of more gore than not. So was it PG-13 or was it R?
It's got to be PG-13.
I think there wasn't enough to make it R. I don't remember.
It was R.
Although there was a lot of fucks. It might have been R because there was a lot of fucks in it.
And the kid did say "see you next Tuesday" to his mom.
Yeah. He literally called her a C word, and that was aggressive. I was like, I don't care who you think you are. I will slap you for that.
Right?
Gee
she's
whiz.
He's like, what are you going to do? I'm like, oh, you're berserk. So, I didn't feel bad for the kid to die.
No.
Because
he turned into a real dick by the end of the movie.
It's like, oh, okay, you're just like your father. You can die now and save some woman some hassle.
Uh-huh. Yeah, for sure.
You don't need to respawn those genes.
No, definitely not. Now, what did you think of the whole investigator angle anyway? Because there was a sort of a love story in the making that was kind of a little weak and a little ham-fisted, I thought.
I mean, it had its purpose, and because, she was this mom who's felt vulnerable, and she has a nice guy that's sticking up for her, and she latched onto it, but he's also latching on to her because he's been through a lot too.
Right.
The deputy was, now a private investigator, is very kooky, but he was very kooky in the first movie too, so it kind of plays out. His
eyes kept doing weird things, like he would open one wider than the other and shit. It was really strange.
Reminds me of the what's his face from Scream.
Matthew Lillard?
No. The who played the sheriff or the deputy that Courtney Cox married.
Oh, Deputy Dewey?
Yeah.
David Arquette.
He totally had that David Arquette Scream thing going.
Yeah, a little bit naive and stuff like that.
Just kind of silly and goofy, but heart of gold.
Yeah, it just was a little bit weird. I don't think he fit as well as a guy that's really getting freaked out by everything, because he knew, from the beginning. She's like, "You're scared of this house, aren't you?" And he's like, "No, okay, yeah. I'm like, he knew where the evil was, and he was trying to be smart about avoiding it.
Yeah, as much as he could.
But it was, at least, the cool thing is when the kid attacks, he is trying to help, the mom and Dylan escape, and then that whole scene where the kid is following them through the corn with the 8mm, it was too choppy. It was annoying to me, but
the children of the corn.
With the harvester and everything, with the sickle. I'm like, geez, that's really
every
on the
time
nose.
they kept showing that throughout the movie, and I was like, this is totally turning into children of the corn.
Yeah, completely. That's really strange that they did it that obvious. In fact, people burning on crosses in the middle of a circle in the corn is literally from that as well.
Yeah.
I don't even. Did they not watch? Like, there's 8 versions of that movie. Seriously, they did the first one twice, and then there were like 6 sequels. Did they just not bother? Like,
it's been long enough.
There's kids, and they're in the corn, but I don't think it has anything like, it's nothing like children of the corn.
No one's gonna correlate the two.
No one's gonna associate them.
It's been so long.
Yeah. For real. So that was a bit annoying.
Yeah.
So there were definitely some positives and some minuses.
I still enjoyed it. For what it was, I still enjoyed it. I thought they did a much better job in this one than they did the first one, because the first one, like you had said before, didn't feel like it had a third act.
Not at all, yeah.
At least this one had a beginning, a middle, and end.
Yeah, you could say that. Even though the end was a little choppy.
Fast.
Yeah, it was a little rushed, it felt.
But I still enjoyed it. Maybe I just really liked it because he ran the kid over with the car.
Yeah, I think that was a big standout moment
that
for
made me love that movie, because I would totally do that.
Yeah, I couldn't blame you if he's about to light the rest of his family on fire.
I mean, the kid's gonna kill everybody, because that's what they do. Mm-hmm. So you gotta take out the kid.
Yeah.
Or the camera, but
Well, and that was a cool move. Yeah,
they took it. He hit the camera. I thought he was gonna bash the kid in the head. And I was gonna laugh again.
No, it was actually a smart little move there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, it's the camera. It's the.
There's one other thing I wanted to mention was the music, because every time he watched, I didn't even know they had contraptions like this. It was a combination record player, 8mm player,
Right.
So whenever he would put on one of the films, he would turn the record on, and it was a couple of different sounds, but they're all like less songs and more just a soundtrack, that like literally a soundtrack,
right?
Where it was just odd, like crescendos and weird noises and like.
It's like what you would hear in a haunted house.
Right. Oh, God, I'm sure you freaking heard a lot of that shit during Rob Zombie's house.
Yeah. So it like almost reminded me of Rob Zombie's Salem.
Oh, Lords of Salem?
Lords of Salem, because that has a new sound.
I still can't believe they're making a sequel to that piece of crap.
Serious.
And I like Rob Zombie a lot, but that movie was just bad. Anyway, tangent.
It could have been better. So anyway,
okay, so we're going to move on, you guys. We're going to hit the Fear the Walking Dead series premiere. Okay, here's the deal. We've both watched all 5 seasons of the regular show, and we're both really excited about the new season starting the week after this one ends.
Yeah.
And so they kind of hyped it up a little bit, saying we're going to go back, we're going to be in LA, and we're going to show when the zombie apocalypse starts. They never said that they're going to show how it starts. Stop that.
Sorry.
They never said they're going to show how it starts, but and they didn't. But it's the problem with that, with going back to the beginning, is they're taking the tack of a long movie, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a really slow burn. Like, you're following one family that's fractured. It's actually a new family formed by a woman and her 2 kids, and a man who also has a kid from an older wife, or an ex-wife rather. And so they're trying to play with that family dynamic, and one of the mom's kids is a junkie that's been estranged from the family for a little bit because he's gone off and is living on his heroin addiction with his girlfriend.
Because he's a junkie.
Right, because the show starts off with him, right?
Yeah.
Waking up in the heroin pit and looking for his girlfriend. He hears a scream and he goes towards it, and he sees that the girlfriend is munching on the face of another person. Very zombie-like. Damn you, Marcia!
We're having a yawn war.
Yeah, we're having a yawn war. We're recording this a little late at night, so
sorry.
Forgive us. Anyway, and we're talking about the first episode of Fear the Walking Dead, which is a little yawn-inducing.
Oh my god.
Anyway. So yeah, they take the tack of a slow burn. The mom and dad are both teachers, which I'm assuming that's how they met.
Right.
And
I'm sure they had an affair and split the marriages, and everybody hates them.
But here's what I liked about what they did with the slow burn. I didn't like the slow burn, but I liked certain bits of it. One, near the beginning of the episode, the mom is walking through the hallways talking to the principal, and they hear the metal detector go off.
Right.
And there's this overweight kid who the principal's like, okay, stand over here, I gotta search you. And the mom kind of cleverly goes in and drops some change in his pocket and pulls it out, acting like she just found it. Oh, it looks like you have some 78 cents here. Here, come on, let's have a discussion. And she looks at the principal. She's like, I'll take care of it, that kind of thing. And she takes him into a room, and she's like, okay, give it to me. And he pulls a little kitchen knife out of his pocket. And she says, why do you have this? And he basically says, because there's more to what people know right now. Right. And he basically alludes to the fact that there's something really wrong. People, the other teachers have mentioned that, kids have been calling in sick. Right. Or people have been calling in sick for the kids. They're not showing up. And
the flu's going around.
Exactly.
And then they had the incident with the guy got
on the side of the road. Yeah. There was a car accident. When the paramedics tried to help him, he rises, and they get footage of it, and that makes the news, and people don't know what to make of it. There's this dude who gets shot by a bunch of cops in the chest, but he keeps coming until they shoot him in the head. Kill shot. The kids and their cell phones in this. But anyway, so back to the overweight kid. He's basically saying that, he's put it together. He's like, it's happening in 5 states. It can't just be that. And the mom doesn't believe him, and so he's just like, fine, can I go? And he leaves, and it was just a nice little touch.
Right.
And there was another little touch that now escapes my mind. What was it? It might have been the dude on the road, actually, but was there something else?
Was it when they're evacuating the school, the kid, she looks at the kid?
Oh yeah, well that was just a follow up to it. She looks at the overweight kid.
I think
on the bus.
He might have something to play later.
I hope he comes back, because it was cool to see a kid that was so smart. And that's the other thing.
Pete explained it.
Oh really?
Yeah, he said he's involved in the dark, deep web, and that's how he learned.
What was that,
like the web beneath the web? With all the weird shit
on the internet or something?
Yeah.
Oh.
Where all the weird stuff are.
Oh.
Deep interwebs.
Oh, okay.
Where all the snuff films and the pedophiles live.
No, sure, great.
Yeah.
That bodes well for the kid.
No, that's how he learned about it. That's why he knows more than what he's saying.
So the mom's got 2 kids, a son and a daughter. The son is the heroin addict who first encounters the zombie in the church, and when he goes running, he gets hit by a car.
Right.
And gets put into a hospital and put in restraints because he's been to rehab before, and
well, he was freaking out. He was saying, somebody's hurt. Someone's eating them.
Someone else, yeah.
And then, when he came to, he was like, oh, whatever. I was just delusional, But he was thinking I must have taken some bad shit that was laced with some shit, because he goes, I know I'm not crazy, and I don't think I'm crazy, but that shouldn't have never happened. Mm-hmm. Like, my girlfriend was eating another man, and that doesn't happen, which was kind of an interesting way to reveal the zombies, and in that kind of point of view.
The weird thing is they're doing a bit of character development through dialogue, which is strange. It's telling, not showing, and you don't really want to do that most times. And at one point, this girl, her daughter, the main woman's daughter, is like seeing a guy from school, and he just makes an offhanded comment. He's like, you're smart enough to be teaching these classes. You're way smarter than me. And it's like, that's a weird line to throw in there just to tell us that she's supposed to be super smart. So obviously, she's going to be the brains of the operation when the shit hits the fan.
Right.
And the family's out having to try and survive. She's going to be the thinker of the group. Right. And it's like, okay, well, show me that. Show me why she's smart. Don't just have a character tell me she's smart. Or
the lame thing, when he's like, come meet me at the beach and we'll have a romantic evening together, and then he doesn't show up, and she's like, you better be dead. Like, who fucking says that?
Well, and it's so on the nose, because chances are he's dead, right?
Yes, he's dead.
He's a zombie.
Come on.
He's gonna show up, but he's gonna be dead.
I'm sorry, but the writing in this could be so much better.
Yeah, it was heavy-handed.
There's no reason that any of these writers that have anything to do associated with The Walking Dead are this horrible at coming up with a spin-off show.
As good as that original show is, you'd think you could scour for some real talent in the writing room. But this was a disappointment. And, maybe, again, we're only judging by the pilot.
Yeah.
But it was. Did
you watch The Talking Dead before?
No, I haven't watched it yet, though.
It's it's a waste of time, really.
Was it really?
Like, I love Chris Hardwick, and it's not his fault, so don't blame him. But, like, you know, the creators, I guess, what's his face is on there?
Robert Kirkman?
Yeah, and he just won't say anything.
About
the whole
show?
time.
Yeah.
He won't say anything.
Like,
He's like,
"Oh,
we
I
won't
can't
say
really
anything.
say
And then they're like, oh, you want to see? We'll see. We're going to give you a sneak preview. And it's a sneak preview of, like, Sasha in the car talking to, I forget, I think, like, Abraham or somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fucking saying absolutely nothing. And it's, like, a whole, like, 90 seconds of nothing. And he's like, okay, well, we all been waiting for that.
Mm-hmm.
But is there a reason why you didn't show us anything? He's like, yeah, we picked that scene so that way it doesn't reveal anything. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, what? Of course, we already know what's going to happen this season.
Yeah.
We all know what's going to happen.
Why?
So
What do you think's going to happen?
Do we want to say what I think was going to happen? I mean,
we're just speculating at this point.
well,
We're not giving anything.
I think Glenn's going to die this season.
You think Negan's going to show up?
Oh, he better fucking show up. If we have a whole season
But
with the
he
Wolves,
wasn't part of the Wolves, was he?
No, but they gotta bring Negan in. And I think it's gonna happen either at the halfway
But how
point.
are they? Well, I guess
It's
they
either
can, but he's
they're
not
gonna
going to
have
be the Negan from the comics because he can't curse.
That's okay.
That's part of his thing, though, in the comics. He is a
they can-
foul-mouthed motherfucker.
They can curse in a way. But
Mm.
they
They
can't
can
not
say
have
shit, but
Negan.
not-
Negan is the best villain
Yeah,
of
but
the
I
whole
just don't know if they'll
series.
get to him right away.
Not right away.
If so, I think
they're
it might
gonna
be
have-
second half of the
Yeah,
season.
yeah.
might be
That's
Negan.
what I think. I think the Wolves are going to be the first half. Second half is going to be Negan, and Glenn's going to die, and that's how it's going to end.
But well, you only think that because of the comics.
That's how you
but it
should
hasn't
do it.
followed. Well, but why?
Because-
Andrea's still around, right? Or did she get killed? No, she's still around in the comics. She's dead in the show.
Yeah.
You know,
But
they've done
have
a lot
they
of stuff.
put some
Judith
replacements.
isn't alive in the comics, you
No.
know. So they're doing a lot of stuff differently.
They're trying to get close to the books, too, though. They were talking about that. They're talking, not get close to the books, but keep it relevant.
Yeah.
They're bringing in. Obviously, they can't play it as well as the books because characters are dead and that, you know, vice versa. Some characters exist, the other characters don't. But Negan is the coolest.
But they're catching
villain.
up real fast, and they don't want to hit Game of Thrones syndrome, you know? I don't think the Negan storyline will finish in this season if it starts.
I think it's going to start. I don't think it's going to finish.
Yeah, I think it'll be over the course of two
I think
seasons the way the
going-
governor was.
I think they're going
They'll
to
introduce
introduce
Negan?
Negan.
Yeah, but
And-
the all-out
like,
war
what I'm
storyline won't happen
saying
until next season.
I think if this season is done well, it should end with Glenn dying.
Oh, that would be heartbreaking for so many people. Because they can't kill Daryl.
Nope.
Because the fans would revolt if they killed Daryl.
Which, you know, I love Daryl, but at the same time, I don't really understand that because they pretty
People
much
just love him.
they just killed his character. He was cool in the beginning, but now they're making him such a fucking pussy,
He's all right.
quiet, nothing's happening character, and which, you know, they're making Carol shine, which I love Carol.
Yeah,
I
that was
love
cool.
Carol.
I was sad to see Beth go, even though Beth didn't really have a huge thing
I
to do.
celebrated. I celebrated that.
Okay, well, let's circle back to Fear the Walking
Sorry.
Dead.
Yeah, 'cause,
so the
obviously
show,
you can see where
our heads are already in the
loyalties-
new season of the
our
regular show.
loyalties are lying elsewhere, but
Are you going to keep watching Fear the
of
Walking Dead?
course I'm
Yeah.
going to keep watching it because I have to because you know
'Cause it's
you want the
zombies.
full story.
Yeah.
And
So-
I want to give it a better chance, but I just feel like they kind of. I guess I was expecting more because when you think back to the very first episode of Walking Dead, knocked it the fuck out of the park.
Yeah.
Way out of the park. The whole first season
Mm-hmm.
was phenomenal.
I didn't like the last episode of it when they get to the CDC, but outside of that, it was good.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, and I just expected that same
Same level.
level
Yeah.
when it comes.
And they had an
especially
hour and a half to work with, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was an hour and a half of nothing. It was like watching the whole first half of the season, last 3 seasons of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But like they don't want to get interesting until the end, and it's super frustrating.
Yeah.
Like there's so much you could play with it. You don't have to like follow. They're not following the book closely, so you could do so much more and have so much more fun and make every episode meaningful and not just a waste of time to watch.
Right. So basically, the episode ends. The mother and the father catch up with the junkie son that escapes from the hospital, and they encounter their first zombie, which is
Yeah.
this guy that acted all perfect and good boy, but turns out he's the dealer for their son, and he's actually going to take the son out and shoot him, so he can't give him up or whatever. And then the son basically turns the gun on him and shoots him instead. And when the family come across their son, he admits right away that he shot the kid, and they fall. He drives them or tells them where to go to get to the guy. And when they get there, the body's not there. And so
there's no blood.
No, there was no blood
What
either.
the fuck was that about?
That didn't make a lot of sense.
Like,
I mean, it might have been a small caliber bullet, so there was only blood on the front.
No. I mean,
that's
come on.
Listen, I'm trying to win a no prize.
Yeah,
here.
there should have been at least a little bit of blood on
There probably should have been, yeah. But anyway, as they're leaving, trying to go through the tunnel, the body's there and shambling towards them. And they get out of the car. The mom and dad get out of the car, even though the son's like, no, don't. And they get over there, and the dude almost bites the mom. And basically, the junkie kicks the car in gear and goes and smashes him.
My favorite.
Yeah, exactly. Marcia and running over people is
That's
a big
how I'm
pleasure
going to do
for
it.
her.
That's how I'm going to survive. Watch out.
So now the parents know that something's really wrong. They have no idea what's going on, and that's how the first episode ended.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, and the train was still running in LA, so people still don't know largely. So I think they're going to use the whole first season to really, before all of society knows what's going on. It won't be until the end of this season. Like, finally people are going to start evacuating LA, and there's going to be issues when that happens, and hopefully it'll get more interesting than the pilot was.
I mean, we'll see how it goes from here. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So
I had my bar set high, and they
dropped it back down.
They put it on the ground, so it's only up from here, I imagine.
Hopefully so. So anyway,
don't maybe burn the stick.
Yeah. So that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Horror Show Podcast. Thanks very much for listening. I've been Cecil Laird.
No, I'm Marcia Parker.
And remember,
stay scared.
Bad show.